And the smaller maps things, I wrote mine for the Battle Hill, whatever. There's no
Capture is live, so I should be all set.
Oh, I should stop.
I'm gonna go ahead and.
You're looking for me?
What? Oh, yes. I love you. What? Mike has the final version. He needs to know where to put it on Canvas.
Okay, yeah, I can go help with that.
Is he still around? Where should I tell people to get it when we're up there?
So if you look at the submission page, that should have all the
There's an
information.
assignment?
Yes.
Okay.
Part 2 is live, so she all set. I don't have to maybe.
I want to hear you be like, oh, I get you. That's all.
Yes.
You think you switched?
Okay.
I did.
I think she was on me last thing she was saying.
You could interview me, you could also interview me.
She said his name to it as well. Okay. Fantastic.
If you see me and track me down, I can't promise about the time,
Okay.
but I should have done some time soon.
No worries. Thanks.
Yeah, it isn't bad. I don't think we're. I mean, it's recording our audio, but. Is it? It is live, right? It is live stream. Good job.
Actually, BonzAI Brawl.
Door opening simulator. Next BonzAI Brawl, guys. Have doors that you can like barricade people from entering.
With the path, you sort of could do that. You got someone with insulation, whatever, for it can block the one access point center. I think that you are good.
Oh, so Mitch, I changed the documentation on your Pathfinder because I didn't know if you could Pathfinder through to the simple AI or not.
Are they serving breakfast?
So that it's reasonable to figure out how to call it from their code.
You know how to add.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so it doesn't automatically go.
Oh, okay.
You need to see, you know how to make this author change word animation.
Do you just want it to go like
Pace,
pace
like
or?
that. Start on.
Alright.
You go automatically, create slide. This. Now,
Interpreting vague answer as yes.
Did you vote? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Say, let's make sure that. Gotta be a light switch, although I don't want to fool around with switches.
I think it's still streaming. Should we stop that or?
No, well, we can't stop it. Once we stop it, it's stopped for good.
Oh, okay.
Yep, works. I mean, does this sound good to you back there?
Sounds
Very
great.
much.
Is there any way
Interpreting
to?
vague.
We're good with this.
God. This is gonna be hilarious.
Is there any way to see if there's anyone viewing it, or is it?
Yeah, if you go to the video manager.
Oh, 0 viewers. Oh, okay. Oh, right down.
Yep, I guess you can get to it from there.
So did this oven resolution at all?
I'm not gonna tell. I don't get.
That's dangerous maneuver.
The presentation.
Well, I don't have.
Just turn your head to the left.
Yeah, here we go. Well, hello. But I was gonna just
Continue
continue on
on
to,
The microphone's off to the side. You are live streaming, spinning.
This thing, I'm okay with this. And it like vibrates and then it changes.
Yeah, they might have one or two people that go to West Virginia or Michigan. Hey, let there be light. You just like smash. All you.
How do you turn it right that way? How is it right? Oh wait, that actually says void.
Okay. I should probably go and check on them over in the HDD. One more time. Half an hour. I guess.
Jesus, does this sound good? Or should I turn it up?
I
think
Awesome.
That sounds good to me.
Practically.
What is he doing? Physics.
Oh yeah, I'm programming right now.
I need to switch two slides, otherwise.
You put it lower so it gets a little bit more.
It senses the muscle contraction, it's not.
Oh, really?
Not the movement, yeah.
So would a lot of people have like a long sleeve shirt on so they can't even see that? So it just looks like
Yep.
gesture.
Squished it. Oh no, I just got shotgun.
Mitch, I can just go get you a dumbbell. You just start.
Hey,
Curls.
curls.
You can curl and switch the slide.
Oh,
What's up? I'm Mitch.
Interpreting vague answer.
I hope they do. This is gonna be a fun one to flip through.
Can you go backwards? Does it only go forward?
No, I go backwards.
Yeah, that's the presentation. All right, everybody.
Oh, are you kidding me?
What? Give some load.
Yep, all right. So, one of you guys want to sit up here and switch slides for me?
Switch slides? What do you mean?
I get stuff, or
Just with that.
so, yeah, I need someone that comes back here and then just,
Could you download it?
Export it and put it into something else.
What?
no.
You can't export it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep
You
going.
give the presentation from the drive? This doesn't work on drive.
What sound do you have?
Yes.
One sound? One sound for the whole person? Just figure out a way, have someone back here that's like, what is media player open? And we'll just play it.
Yeah, like we'll directly type the audio.
Okay.
Just put it on your phone
Well,
and we'll just play it.
be right next to the camera.
Everybody in the audience is like, what? Everybody on the stream is like, I get it.
Interpreting vague.
I need to duplicate this over here.
It's open.
Oh, you want? I think I should be able to present.
Get the stream shut down. This meeting, the stream.
Okay, who's gonna work back here?
Really?
Yeah.
You want to? We'll do it together? Alright, alright. Let's do
Alright,
that.
so I can flip through slides using scroll. So,
Oh, you're not using the thing anymore?
yeah, I can use this to flip through.
Use your hand thing.
What, not for this, it's I made the program explicitly for.
Oh, the actual presentation.
This is,
I can,
no, the thing at the bottom, I'm mousing over.
Exit, just like settings,
Exit.
slide or exit, full screen.
Right there, click there.
Does it work now?
Can you get your gifts?
Yeah, of course. Good.
Yep.
Yep. And sound will not work then. Or will it work? No, it won't. So the deal is, you're gonna have to click on that, and then as soon as you're done, you have to go back over, so move the mouse back onto the screen. So I mean, I can scroll, but my scroll wheel is super sensitive. And let's see what this should go back to the other screen. Oh.
This is enough of your bullshit, all right?
Okay, we're ready.
Is that when you eat breakfast before the presentation?
Oh, I want bread. I am starving.
Just plays it like on the screen and all the quad photos have been monitored. That's not on the wall now. Just like put it there.
Yes, you want a podium?
What's up?
You want a podium?
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Do you want a podium?
No.
Sure, I can get you a podium.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Give me like.
Yeah, we got discount podiums.
All right. Well, if you can sell me on that. I'm not a seller. Wait, what?
Oh, you got it?
No. Yes.
This one.
Oh.
Aftermarket. It's not working.
What's with the yellow? Is it like a black or some shit?
No, I think. No, it's just.
It's disgusting.
It's just like itself.
I know that.
Or maybe it's just like it was next to yellow shop. And it, real good shop.
Stream is backwards.
What?
Pretty sure the stream is
The
backwards.
screen is backwards. Oh.
Yeah, like it's not inverted.
So it's really like not such a big screen.
The screen's backwards apparently on the stream.
Yeah.
It's because it's a Google Hangout, so it's made to like reflect, so that way if you're looking, you feel like it's more like a mirror. But when it's actually published, you're all set.
Do it. It's me.
It's probably this.
Probably actually us.
You are going. Such a line for
What? We're staff, let's go do it.
There's food now? Why did someone tell me this earlier?
We can actually just go out those doors and then like kind of sneak up and behind. And just be like, we're just gonna make a box. Take it in.
You want? I mean, you can do that. Do you want to do that then?
Yeah, our box, people can make a box.
Want a donut? No? All right. Let's go with the tail.
This was so we're making up a cemetery. There's one more fun too.
I need some sustenance. I'm gonna have like a sugar rush and a caffeine rush. And I'll just go like kind of like shaking around.
It's a good thing you're using the mouse.
Good thing I'm using what?
The mouse instead of that, because you'd be like, next slide, next slide.
Like rotate the screen.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I love that thing though. It's like, can you still like this? And she twists, turns that volume.
We're just like up in one of their,
Auditoriums. They probably have their experience.
Oh, is that jelly food?
so do another one.
I don't know, I can only do one donut per morning. This is where I'm at, I'm like halfway through and I'm just done.
And you see the
Yeah, these imaginary donuts.
There's one more thing, I remember you guys told me to not decide for it. I forgot what it was.
And they slide.
Oh, my presentation, giving a presentation in 112. There's also going to be on the YouTube stream of how to start an AI. So for any reason I don't remember, let me know.
Okay, yeah. One, wait, to give the presentation or to remember to tell about the presentation?
Remember, me to stay on.
Okay.
It'll be after the questions. So at the very end.
Don't let us raise their hand. Will you explain to me how to make an AI?
Or how to start an AI?
How do I start an AI? I had some questions. Mitch, why are you so good looking?
Well, there's some things I can't.
I can get some juice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Juice group. No, John, so many people said.
Walking out of the line.
the thing is, we don't have the ladder finished yet. Yeah, I'm working on it until about the list.
Jeez.
Thanks for your video.
Problem is a hobby of mine.
I never really used the video. But taking pictures, put them in the record time. Yeah.
Actually, oh,
Assume it's the end of the competition. Really mean. Oh, yeah. So you say, take the photos.
Okay, I have been practicing this with Unless you talk.
I had to go to work.
You probably want
Did you guys get packets yet? Also, I'll make sure someone's sitting. But there's on the YouTube thing, there's a chat thing on the right side. So okay, now we're going to do the questions. I'll say and ask the questions. So we can be able to do all that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Looks like we have one here. We have one here.
Yeah, that's a safe section. Good question. As far as I know.
Find that right now.
Definitely show that. You should definitely show that.
Why are the people running? Literally after the just like nobody like usually do it like copy
Right now,
Yeah, you can spin it around if you want to sit next to it on the other side.
All right, I'll circle around. Hey, Mitch. The video feed here
Is reverse? That's
not
because
on their
it's,
end.
no, it's mirrored because normally you're doing it from here and you don't want
Okay, just making sure that everything's
It cannot be extremely loud. All right, is everyone ready? Can everyone hear me all right? We've got you guys over at Western. We're streaming to Western.
Nobody from Western is viewing the.
Does it say one viewer at the bottom?
It does, but then I did /users and it says you're the only member of the video call.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so
The
Western.
interpreting may answer as yes.
Awesome. All right, so next slide. All right, so before we start, this is the 8th annual BonzAI Brawl. So we've been around for quite a while now, and it's really great to pull it off another year. All of this is possible because of our sponsors. So our 2 top sponsors this year is LaSalle Tech, who is our platinum sponsor, and Jackson National Life. We've also got a bunch of other gold and bronze level sponsors as well. So without them, we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. So before I get into the actual details of what's going on, this is the schedule for the day. So hopefully you guys have already checked in, and we're now starting the presentation, so we're right on time. The coding is going to begin in a half an hour at 10 o'clock, and that's going to go all the way until 6 o'clock. About halfway through at 1 o'clock, we're going to have lunch, which will be over in Fisher 131. That's where we'll be up in a bit. Coding officially ends at 6 o'clock. And then at 6:10, there's dinner. And then right after dinner, we're going to actually get into the brawl, which is watching everything live, and everyone gets eliminated except for the first place team, all the fun stuff. All right, so all the food is going to be in Fisher 131. You have to have your shirt on if you want to get food, so that way we don't have any stragglers coming in that just want to get free Jimmy John's and Domino's later on. So make sure you have your shirt with you. So now we're going to actually get into the game itself. So you guys have all probably seen the posters around Snowbound, and that hopefully is all you know about the game. So for the first time, I'm going to start unveiling what it is. So the basis of this game is King of the Hill. So you have a bunch of little snow people, I guess, and your goal is to capture these bases. There's multiple bases on the map, and whoever holds them for the longest wins. You get points for every turn that you have this. The other thing that you can do is throw snowballs at your enemies to chill them and make them respawn by going back to their spawn spots. This is what the game looks like. There's hex tiles everywhere, so you can move up to 6 different directions. You have an unknown number of teammates per turn. It's usually about 3. So if you look around here, you should see 3 of every single color on there. This specific match, there are 3 people playing each other. And there are 3 different types of tiles that you should take note of. We have the generic snow tiles. So these are all the white tiles, and these are nothing special about them except for you can pick up snow from them. So before you can throw a snowball, you have to be able to gather snow. If you look at all those little lumps there, that shows how much snow is on there. The snow will be used up as soon as you gather it, and then randomly throughout the match, more snow will be generated during blizzards. The next tiles to take notes of are the spawns. These are the same color as your character, and these are all the tiles that you are allowed to start on. So anytime throughout the game, you can spawn there, and then if you are chilled, then you can spawn back there again. And then the big point of the game is the bases. I completely forgot to highlight the one at the bottom. It's a purple base down there, so just don't be purple, I guess. There are, the color of the base determines who owns it. And the one at the bottom left, the one that's highlighted red, that's a gray base, that's a neutral base, so no one has claimed that yet. All right, so now on to more technical stuff. So the way that you have to capture a base is to be able to move on to any of the 7 tiles that make it up. And if you have more of your people on there than any enemy team, then you're able to capture it. So if you're the only person on, you can capture a base. You do not have to stay on the base for it to be captured. As soon as it's captured, it will remain that way until someone else either neutralizes it or captures it. If you have the same number of people on a base as an enemy, then you will neutralize it. So it takes it away from them, but it won't really give it to you. So for example, you might have 2 of your people on there, and then 2 other people come along. They will neutralize it, so then you lose that base more or less. The next thing is the snow. There are the blizzard events, which they occur randomly throughout the game. It should happen about twice. There's just that little snow effect, and then you should be able to look at all the tiles and they should build up. So it's kind of subtle, but luckily your AI pays attention to that and you don't have to. Let's see, it regenerates. So yeah, you need snow to be able to throw snowballs. And shouting. This was a feature that was actually added in really late because of popular demand. So just like previous years, you guys are allowed to shout. You can say anything you want as long as it is appropriate. So this takes up 1 turn, so keep that in mind. You can either gather snow, you can capture base, or you can waste it by saying something. So make sure that you do it properly. There's a 30-character maximum, so make sure that you pick your words wisely. And also, if you say anything that is vulgar or inappropriate, your team will just be disqualified on the spot, so don't even push it. Everything that you do today will be submitted on Canvas. Everything that you need to know should be on Canvas pages, so make sure you have this up. So everyone in Michigan Tech, you guys should all be familiar with this. There's the assignments page where you're going to be submitting your AI, and all the news and stuff should show up on here. If not, it will be sent out in an email. A lot of people have talked about Java 1.7 and 1.8. We have the lab computers here. They all use 1.7, and if you're using the lab computer, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. If you decided to bring your own computer, you need to have 1.7. And if you have 1.8, there's a weird bug in the way that Ant is working, where if you want to use 1.7, you have to first uninstall every version of Java that you have, and then reinstall 1.7. So for all of you guys that have 1.8, it's going to take you a little bit longer to start up. So I would suggest using lab computers. If you guys get any errors, there's 3 types of errors that we're going to focus on. During this, if your AI times out, so if it takes too long to perform a turn, your turn will just be skipped. So that's completely fine. If it throws an exception, so if you guys didn't catch all of your exceptions, if you divide by 0, if you're doing an index out of bounds exception, your turn will be skipped. There is one unforgivable error, which is you allocated way too much memory. If that ever happens, your AI will be done for the rest of the game. So make sure that you do memory management if you are trying to make something very complicated. If you don't know what that means you're probably not going to make something that complicated, so you're all set. This is the room assignments for everyone. It's really small, and I can't fit nearly everyone on here. I think I would have to scroll down 3 pages, but this should be, you know what, let me pull this up real quick. These are the teams and the rooms that every team is assigned to. You should all have a computer right now. It's got a name tag on it. Once again, if you brought your own computer, then you can find a name tag at your designated area. You guys are allowed to leave during the competition, but if you do, then don't expect to get all the news and errors and bug fixes announced to you. So if you guys are here, we will make sure to get that information to you. And there's usually some bug fixes that happen throughout the competition as well. So if you guys catch an error and you're pretty sure it's not your AI and it's the code itself, make sure to let us know and we'll fix it on the spot. And then once again, we'll announce as soon as that's done to everyone. So if you guys, I'll scroll down a little bit here if you haven't seen your team yet. Should be everyone. Does anyone still need this or can't find their team? Awesome. Let me go back to the slide. All right, and if you guys need help, we do have a lot of volunteers around here that are familiar with the game. So just find anyone that is wearing this color shirt, raise your hand, or just come bug them, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you have. A lot of the documentation should be up on Canvas. There is a link there explaining how to do everything, because right now I explained the point of the game, but not how to actually access the methods and stuff that you need to do so. So if you ever get stuck, consult the documentation or ask one of us and we'll be able to help you out. People that are at Western, just send an email to BonzAI-report-L. That should also be on that Canvas page as well, and we'll make sure you get that answered. So now, are there any questions regarding the game? Yes?
Can you walk over other people's spawn points, or are those bases inside the spawn points?
All right, so the question was, can you walk over other people's spawn points? Spawn tiles are just regular tiles that you are allowed to spawn on, so there is nothing different about them. So you can walk over tiles, you can squat on their tiles. However, we made sure that there's usually one more spawn tile than there are people on your team, So that way you can't completely block out another person from spawning.
At least. Oftentimes you'll have way more spawns than you have units, and so you'll have no shortage of places to spawn.
Yep. Another thing is you cannot walk over tiles where other people are already on. Pathfinding is all done for you, so you don't need to do anything like that, but if you want to write your own pathfinding, you're more than welcome to. Yes?
How long does it take to capture a base?
1 turn. So the way that this works is there are the 6 things that you can do on each turn. You can spawn, you can move, you can capture a base, you can pick up snow, you can throw snow, and you can yell. So those are the 6 things that you can do. You can only do exactly 1 of them per turn. And the way that those work are called actions. So the names are like throw action, move action, and that will make a lot more sense as soon as you pull up the code and see how that works. Do you have any other questions? Yes?
Can you spawn at will, or is this only a force for being hit with a snowball?
So yeah, you can only spawn when you are not on the map. So you can't just teleport back to a spawn area. There's no cooldown time, so if you get hit by a snowball, you can immediately spawn your next turn. There is no delay on that, and then once again, when the map starts, you're allowed to spawn.
How many hits from a snowball until you're, I guess?
Thank you for mentioning that. I forgot to put a slide up for this. There are these things called perks. So there are, by default, you have 2 health. You can pick up 2 snowballs, so that means 1 person can take out another person. You can move 3 tiles, and you can throw a distance of 3 tiles. So between those 2 and 3, those are the magic numbers. However, whenever you spawn someone, you are allowed to pick one of these perks. And the perks will then increase one of those statistics by 1. So you can choose a bucket perk, which will let you carry a 3rd snowball. You can choose the warmth perk, I think it's called.
Layers.
What was it?
The stat is warmth, the perk is layers.
All right, perk is called layers, which will increase your warmth or health by 1. So that way you can have 3 health. You can do cleats, which make you run a little further, so you can move 1 extra tile, which is 4 tiles. And then you can also get pitcher, which lets you throw an extra tile. So you are allowed to pick all of these at spawn. If you are chilled and need to respawn, then you can pick a new perk. But you can only do that when you're being spawned. Yes?
What's the order of actions?
All right, the order of actions is, let's say there's only 2 teams right now. It goes 1 person from your team gets to move, then a person from their team moves, and then the next person from their team moves, and then your team, their team, your team. So it kind of alternates between how that works. So if you have 3 teams, it just kind of 1 person from team A, 1 person from team B, 1 person from team C. They always move in that order. You don't get to pick which unit gets to go. It's always the same. Like if you have 3 units, the first turn will be your first unit, the next turn will be your next unit, the third turn will be your last unit. Yep.
How is the brawl laid out? Are we going to be 1 versus 1, or is it 1 versus 1 versus 1?
This is going to be 1 versus 1 versus 1 for the actual tournament, with a couple of exceptions. The lower level, we're going to do a ladder to start out before we can get into the actual tournament, which is just going to be a 1 versus 1 where the winner moves on. For the actual tournament, once we get the top 27 teams, that will be 1 versus 1 versus 1 with a bunch of brackets, and you have to lose twice to get out. You can move around brackets. If you lose, you can still win. I'll explain all of that when it comes time to the actual brawl. So when you're writing your AIs, make sure that they are good against one-on-one as well as multiple teams.
And they'll be ranked using a 1v1v1
Oh yeah,
round.
we're going to do a seeding round, which is a round robin. So we're going to simulate your team up against every other possible combination of 3 teams. So there are hundreds of thousands of simulations, I think. So all of that will be used then to rank you. So that way we'll have the seedings for the charts. That way you're not going to face like the first and second place people on the first round, and then whoever was second place loses right off the bat. So we took care of all of that, so the seeding should be accurate. Yes?
On the maps we've seen, indicative of the maps we'll be playing on?
All right, so the way that this works is we gave you guys a couple of AIs to test with. So all of the people that were doing development as well as a couple of volunteers have already written some AIs. So you guys will have access to compete against them, however you won't be able to see how they're working. And then we also provide you with a handful of maps to test. However, those will not be the ones that work on the tournament. And the reason for that is because we don't want you writing a strategy that is specific to a map. So the maps will be similar, but not the same. So they all have the same properties of stuff that's going on. Yep.
Do bases spawn with snow?
Bases never spawn with snow, but spawn tiles do. And the reason for that is we don't want you to be able to just camp on a base. You have to actually leave your base if you're going to do something strategical. Yep.
Blizzards respawn all the snow?
Blizzards will put 1 extra snow on every tile. A tile can hold up to 2 snows. So you'll see them by the lumps on there. If there's 2 lumps, there's 2 snow on it. If there's 1 lump, there's 1. If there's not any, then you can't pick up any snow from that tile. The blizzards occur every set number of turns, so it should be twice every match, and then every tile that can get snow should get 1 extra snow on it. And you also see that little picture of the snow moving around a couple of turns before they actually spawn. Yep.
We get to know where all the AIs are tile placement wise, or just ours?
Yep, you get to know where everything is. There's very little information that is hidden from you guys. So unlike previous years where there was like a fog where you couldn't see, this one you have access to every single AI, you have access to every single base, you have access to every single tile. So use all that information to your advantage. With that said, there are a couple of things I want to mention about the API. There was some utility methods that were made, and I'm probably going to be going over these a little bit later, not during this presentation, but another one. I highly suggest using these. Raise your hand if you don't know what sets are. I don't believe you guys. There's someone that doesn't know, so I'm going to explain it anyway. The way that sets work is everything is passed around in sets. So if you call a method that says, get all of the people on my team, it returns a set to you. Everything is used with that. Now with that, there are utility methods that were made to then do some like union. So you can take 2 sets and join them together. So maybe you have tiles of interest, which are bases and snow tiles, and you want to pick the closest of the 2. You can take those things and merge them or union them together. Let's say you want to get just your enemy, just the enemy units. You can take all of the units. You can take your units and then subtract the 2 to get the enemy units. So there's a lot of really good utility methods like union, difference, intersection, addition,
filter, retain.
Filter and retain. That's another one that I will be going over a little bit later. Definitely take a look at these. There's also a method called any, which randomly picks one from there. So let's say you want to pick from spawns and you don't really care where it is. You can just say any spawn. Any other questions? Yes?
Is a round end, is it like a set number of turns?
Yes, there are exactly 500 turns in every single match. That is determined by how many people you have. So the more people you have, it's 500 turns per person. There is a way to get that during the API with a thing called get turns left. So if you ever want to actually use that to your advantage, like if you're winning and if you're winning by a lot and there's only 3 turns left, you might as well start shouting. So, yes?
Will the maps always have the choke points like in the example?
The what?
Choke points.
Oh, sometimes. So the maps are very different from each other. There's a lot of very creative designs that are out there. So sometimes there's going to be a choke point where you won't be able to get around if someone's blocking it. However, there's a lot of maps that are very open. Some are very big, some are very small. Sometimes you spawn with 3 people on your team, sometimes it's just 1 or 2. You can have as many, and that doesn't really change. Yep.
Can you occupy the same space as an enemy unit?
No, you cannot walk onto a tile, you cannot move past another tile or anything that has an enemy unit. So when you are moving around, you can just think of those as immovable tiles. Once again, if you're just using the built-in pathfinding, all of that will be all set. Yes?
When you capture base, can you move off it and is it still yours?
Yes, if you move off of the base, it will be yours until someone else comes along and captures it again. Yep.
Can you travel through an ally unit?
No, you cannot. All units are. Yep.
Last year, the Pathfinder, if you ran it once per turn, it would return if there were multiple paths, it would return a random path. Is this the same this year?
All right, so the way that pathfinding works this year is you don't actually have to know how pathfinding works. So last year, if you guys participated, it would return an array list or a linked list of your path. This year, you just say, I want to move to this tile. If you can't get there in 1 turn, it will move you in a way that best gets you there in that set amount of turns. And the way that that works is if there are multiple paths, it picks a random-ish path. So that way you're not going to be following the exact same way. However, it will not make your path longer. If there are multiple paths of the exact same length, it just randomly picks between them.
You do have to be careful since game state changes from turn to turn. If the original path chose to go through a choke point, and then in a later turn while you're following it, the choke point gets covered up, do you repath? How does that work?
Yeah, so if anything changes, your path is calculated every single turn. So, by the time that you move once, by the time that you get to move again, the world is going to be different. So everything is going to be handled accordingly. So if someone moves to block you off, that old path that you had will be then recalculated around that. It doesn't follow the same one. Yep.
How many perks can each character have?
Each character can have exactly one perk. And also, if you're feeling extremely, I don't know, proactive, you can choose the none perk, which does absolutely nothing. And if you guys win with a none perk, congratulations. You're incredible. Yes?
All bases are worth the same?
Yep, all bases are worth the same. You get 1 point. Let me scroll back a little bit. I'm going to show up the score. Wrong way. All right, so look up at the top. You've got the little bars with the people's names. Max can hold up to 6 people. It will show all the names and the colors of the competitors at the top. And then if you look at the littler bar underneath it, that is your score. So you can't actually see the number of the score during the game, but you can see those bars will adjust depending on who is winning. So once again, you get 1 point per turn, which will then move your bar a little bit bigger. It will make someone else's a little bit smaller throughout the game. And then at the very end, whoever has the most points wins.
Can you access your score?
What was that?
Can you access your score?
Yes, you can access your score, you can access your team or your team's scores. Pretty much everything is going to be there. You can think of it as a giant board game. Anyone else have something? Yep.
How does picking up snow work? Do you have to be on the tile before you can pick up snow, or can you move to a tile and pick up snow?
Yep, so all of the events for like picking up snow, you have to be on the tile that you want to pick up snow. So you can't move and then pick up. If you ever call a pickup action and you are on a tile that doesn't have snow, it just ignores that turn. If you ever try to capture a base and you're not on a base, it will ignore that turn. So there's nothing really bad that happens. However, it's not the best thing to do. So make sure that you are on a correct tile before you decide to capture something. Way in the back. Or you, sorry.
Can you can you pick up snow and then walk with it?
Yes, so you can pick up snow and let's see if I can find another picture here. Where did I have it? So yeah, this person right here is carrying 3, both of those people are carrying 3 snow right now. It shows you how many you're carrying. If you have 3, it shows a little pile. If you're holding 2, it's got 1 in each hand. If you have 1, you're just holding it in 1 hand. So once you have snow, yeah, you can move around with it. You'll never drop snow or anything. So as soon as you pick it up, you have it until you throw it or down. Yep.
Can you respawn if not?
No, you cannot respawn if you have not died. Yes.
You only throw 1 snowball at a time if you don't blow it up.
Yes, just 1 snowball at a time. So it would take 2 turns for you to take someone else. Someone else got something over here? Yes.
If you have if you're on a base and there's 2 people for 1 team and 2 people for another team, they both have to call capture.
So all right. So if it's a neutral base and you call capture, nothing will happen because you have to overpower a team to be able to capture a base. If it's already captured by someone, so let's say it's captured by blue and then purple comes on. If you have the same number of teams or the same number of people on each base, it will then neutralize that base. So if you have the same number of people, it neutralizes. If you have more, it captures.
So only 1 unit from your team has to call capture, the other one can throw a snowball?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's just 1 capture event. Yes.
Is there friendly fires?
No, good point. You can throw at your own players. And what that will do is then transfer the snowball from you to them. And you don't have to call a gather event either on that other person. It just automatically will receive.
Unless your hands are full.
Unless your hands are full, yes. Any other questions? Yep.
In that map example that you have, are you able to throw a snowball from like one branch to the other, even though there's no?
Yep. So the way that this works is you can kind of think of it as just dead zone tiles. You can think of it as just tiles without snow. So you cannot move onto them, but you can throw across them. So there are no obstacles. If you throw a snowball, as long as they're within like a certain radius, you are allowed to hit them. And you can also throw over another person. That won't cause anything. If there's another person standing in front of you and you want to hit the person behind them, that's all fine as well. Yep. Oh, awesome. Yep.
So you have to wait a turn. Somebody passes the snowball, but you have to wait a turn to throw it?
No, they can throw it right away, assuming that they move right after them. So as soon as you throw it to another person, they automatically get that snowball. It doesn't take any time for them to get that. So as soon as it's that unit's turn, you can throw it right again that next turn.
Is there an order to your units, what turn it goes, or if somebody's at?
Yeah, so whichever unit spawns first will be acting first, and then the next one that spawns will go second, the third one to spawn will go third. So there is no way to adjust that rank. So if you really want to have like a snowball chain where you're throwing it from one person to the next person to the next person, you have to make sure you have the right units in the right order for that.
And you can get a list of the roster and the list of
Yeah, you can
teams.
get access to all of that through the API, who's going to go next, who went previously, and all of that as well. Yep.
Are the sets for your units iterable in the order that they go?
What was that, the sets?
If you iterate over the set of your units, will it go in the order of their turns or in some random order?
Do you know how that works?
Assume that it is a random order that it will be iterated in.
The roster is ordered by turn order.
Yeah, so you can do something like you get the roster from your turn object, and then you run you can run a sort on a filter on that for just your units, and then you would have a list of units in the order that they take their turn.
Yep. So what he basically said was there's filter objects which are very nice for being able to get rid of things that you have on the screen. So you can really filter things down to exactly what you want. So I'm going to give one example. You can get a collection of every single tile on the game. And then out of there, you can filter out every single tile that has a person. And then you can filter out every tile that has a base. And you can filter out every tile that doesn't have snow. And now what you're left with is a tile that has snow. So that's one of the utility methods. I will be going over that a little bit after this presentation in 112. So make sure that you stop by if you want to learn how to use these. It's also in the documentation. So that utility function, make sure you take a look at that. That should be in the documentation. Yes?
Is there any way to keep track of information between turns?
Yes, all right, so you can store variables of different units throughout the game. However, you gotta keep in mind that the units that you store are for that turn, which means that if I save an enemy's location and then the next turn rolls around, I have the enemy's location at that turn. So there is a method to then update that called current, which will then get you their current whereabouts. So make sure that you use that if you're going to store information about tiles, bases, teammates, enemies, anything like that. Anything that would change across turns. You need to make sure that you call current on it to be able to use their new whereabouts. Notice this is a lot pretty foreign to you guys if you haven't seen the code and I'm telling you all the methods to remember. Once again, everything is in the documentation. In like 10 or so minutes, I'm about to let you guys go. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to start another presentation in 112, which is how to start your AI. So if you guys have never done this before and you want to know how to get started between setting up your Eclipse environment, or if you want to use just command line, you can use Ant. I will also go over some of the basic methods that I suggest you take a look at, as well as how to use the code and answer questions on the spot.
Will you be streaming that on YouTube?
Yes, that'll be streamed as well. So probably be on different versions. Does anyone else have any questions? I think that's it. Are you guys all
Sure.
Or it'll also be archived as you go, right? No. I didn't want to touch anything. Just keep it going, roll it over.
All right. Is the person from Filmboard around? Because we never got that computer.
Nobody ever asked them to be around this morning, so they're going to be at 10 or 11 or something like that. But, yeah, but not right now.
Okay.
So,
hey Jason, could you help me carry some of this stuff? I'm going to keep this stream going, so don't pull this laptop.
Should we just roll this whole thing over?
We could.
I mean, well, I don't know, I got here like 11 months ago, so I'm not sure, but. And I had 11.
So I think the biggest problem with the stream is the audio, being the mic being kind of far away.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about that.
I thought that it was using the webcam's mic, but maybe.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we should be able to just wheel this over then. Oh, we
I
should probably
do
unplug
have
things.
like a USB extension cable for the Brawl, if we're gonna do this streaming on the screen.
Yeah, we'll do
The
it.
mic closer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point. I didn't even think about the mic.
Alright. And then there's a cable. Is this your cable? Should we bring this with?
Yep, we should bring that.
You can interview me.
I could actually, should I go first? That way I can do the next presentation.
Help you with the door here. These back wheels don't turn. All right.
I'm organized, but
Yeah. Yep, but we're live streaming. For Western.
I'm surprised you guys shaped one
Well, let's see if it might have dropped. So we can. Yeah, I don't know where he wants it or what to do. So we should just wait for Mitch for some instructions. I don't think he use the projector. No, well, Mitch is going to do an intro. So wait.
Can't possibly be powered.
I guess the last not equals the object version of double equals. I think they got confused. And you were doing just
except for the one exception. Computer problem?
There's only two spots.
Maybe do this and I can. And all the time.
You should not because if you mess with those bad you guys can have all of your phones. Days down the road. They're arbiters technically are supposed to be. Should be good to get
I have been looking like all the time.
There's one more spot down here. Hold on. Well,
Hey, I should probably go post page, that's sorry, probably, but. So it should be, assignment, if you go to the assignment page. So assignment there. We should make a louder, I don't know about that.
Window. Show view. They have yet though. You just have to
Build that XML and then. Edit build that XML. Add depends equals.
Because mine's my very complicated.
Okay, and then you see how this runs. Compile your AI and you choose math website first.
This should be movable.
Okay, go to where you want your. Is that's your project? You probably want to put it inside your. Look for space for them.
What's strategy?
Sitting still.
BonzAI setup. Show that.
I don't know if
BonzAI setup.
Actually, you probably should have just.
Fill your mind.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel I'm ready to set up.
second round of song, and then it's like they're running.
All
Yeah. If you guys can help with that, I can help you. I'm surprised. Why would you guys
And Mitch, but yeah, you can just, okay, I'll put you out. Otherwise,
I think friends.
otherwise, it might just be the file what do you want? Oh, yeah, you need that.
Okay. The swarming thing doesn't work though. You ready? Just stick together. Well, I mean, really, you can just swarm together.
So this is where he's going to be doing the presentation. This thing will be a little bit sad.
Oh, yeah, you want your. Yeah.
Because he wants to. Oh, that's what happened. And he blows that.
For some reason, mine don't have a map pop up. All you get is that.
Something others can do. 6 players. Yes.
Do you spawn two symbols? No, you spawn with nothing.
Where are the other AIs? So you need all the other
You guys get your game set up all right?
We don't have any of the other AIs. We can run it, but the only AI we've seen is like simple AI.
So
There should be. Yeah, so all the AIs are there. You don't see the sources. These are the components.
I guess
So simple AI is what you're going to modify. So if you click on run, then you can pick a map here, and then you can pick which AI.
Then you can.
Yeah,
So that's why.
so like Kate and Mitch were the two that I wrote. So and you can see what they do against each other by doing this. And the way that it works, it simulates it up front, so it's like the loading bar near the bottom. Oh, it also takes really long to do the first time. If you ever remember it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's why I think Eclipse not too stupid. Close welcome tab. Hey, that's better. Next game set of sauce.
Hey, you just do a shout out. You say, hey, I am a question. Maybe it'll respond. You can change the task because he's far behind. So you're closer, switch to being. So I think it'd be nice to have I don't even know.
Oh, yeah. That's.
Okay, so there's documentation. There's a it's worse, but it's actually better. So you get the import there, walk through the rest, and then
Sees that and
then we have the shank and
why does nothing in documentation match up with the actual?
Basically, it says, what is my task?
I got a couple ideas.
So this guy was all of
Do I do that one at the beginning? I did it because once there's one touch on it, we can determine like a base and a neutral base is what
Let's spin this way just for now so I have some mouse room. Sorry about that.
And if we pick a small part, we either take more.
Yes.
No.
No. It's streaming.
Then it goes.
Do you need
And then once we touch one, we can always just do it. Go pick up solo. Not affect the base.
Hey guys, real quick, I'm going to go over how to set up your AIs if you guys are having troubles getting into Eclipse. If you don't want to pay attention to me, then by all means don't. This is also going to be recorded. It's on the YouTube stream right now live. And then after everything is done, you can also go back and watch this. So if there's something I cover and you forget about it, you can keep going back to look at it. So I'm going to go right from the start. I am going to download on the Canvas page, should be somewhere, there it is, to download the competitor zip file. So make sure that you download this from the submission page if you have yet to do so. While that's downloading, I'm going to go ahead and boot up Eclipse. And then I have to pick another workspace because I keep making so many. I call it BonzAI Brawl Workspace 2. So pick a fresh workspace. That's my suggestion for you guys so we don't have anything else conflicting with it. All right, now as soon as you get this up, there's a couple of settings that I would change. First of all, you've got this little restore button on the left, which shows you all of the information. Hopefully you've got that figured out already. I'm going to close out of this welcome thing. The most important thing is you've got to make sure that you have this ant window. And the ant window is what lets you run and compile your game because it's not just clicking the play button on Eclipse. So what you need to do for that is you got this little window tab up top here. If you click on that, you'll see a thing that says show view. And then right there, the first one, is ant. So that put it right here for me. I don't like it there, so I'm just going to kind of move things around. I'm going to click on it and drag it up to the top here. Then I'm going to get rid of outline. So the way that I've got it right now is I've got just this ant window on my right-hand side. So now that Eclipse is all set up, I'm going to go ahead and import the project. So I should be able to go File, Import, and then from this menu, I'm going to select General, and then existing projects into workspace. So this should be similar to what you guys do for any assignments or whatnot. Since it's a zip file, I'm going to go ahead and select the select archive file, and then I'm going to have to navigate to that. Hopefully it's done downloading. I'm going to check that real quick. Looks like it is. So I'm going to hit browse, and then I'm going to look for that zip file, and that's in my downloads folder. Should be right here, competitor 1. So as soon as you do that, it should show you right here that we have a project called competitor. And then if you hit finish, it should import it. So this will cause problems if you already have it imported. So make sure that you haven't done so already. So now you've got this folder here on your left-hand side with all the information that you need. So before you do anything, the first step is to click the drop down, and you'll see a little thing called build.xml. So what you want to do is you want to drag that all the way over to your Ant window, which then boots up all of the things that you can run. For you guys, it's just 2. The top one right here will compile your AI, and the bottom one will run it. Once you have your program running, you never have to close it out. You can if you want. All you have to do is recompile your AI, and it will recognize that you've changed it, and it will automatically reload it. So as soon as you've got this up, double-click on Run. Or if you right-click on it, I think you can also hit, yeah, don't right-click on it. Ignore that. So if you double-click on it, you'll get this little snowbound window. The first thing on the left is the maps. You have to select a map first before you can select any AIs. So it looks like these are the ones we gave you. There's lots, apparently. I don't remember which ones we took out. So I'm just going to go with a very simple one, which is this Battle Hill. So as soon as you do that, you can click on AIs. So there should already be a handful of them that were given to you. So these are like volunteer AIs. Some of them do absolutely nothing. Some do some good. Some are very good. Frenetic right now is the best one that we have. So if you guys are trying to go for number 1, try and compete against that. When I say it's the best one, it had like an hour and a half of time put into it. So that you guys should be able to pass these up real quick. And then I'll go ahead and put these 2 up against each other. So if you hit Battle Get, it might take a while for the first time. I've run this before, so it went real quick on mine. However, it's probably going to freeze up on yours. Give it like a minute, and then it should be all set. After that, it should run just fine. So you can rescale this window if you want. I'm going to full screen it. You can move around by clicking and dragging on here. I would suggest not doing that because of the way that AutoPan works. If you ever do click and drag, there's a little reset button down here right next to the X, which will then reset the view. So if you click on the play button down in the left corner, it will start playing the simulation.
Can you make AutoPan go away?
No.
Disable it?
No.
Can we request that as a bug fix?
Sure. Yeah, I'll put something in there. So yeah, this is how it looks right now. Blue is absolutely destroying. There's a shout. There's also a little speed scroller on the bottom right here. So if you want to see it like slow-mo, which some of you probably will, for your turns, you can slow it all the way down. And then also you can do the opposite and make it very, very fast. You can also click anywhere you want on the bottom here to scroll through time. And then when you get to the very end, this little window will pop up showing you who won. It's kind of dark to see here, but it looks fine on your screen. All right, so now that you're familiar with what it actually looks like, we're going to go ahead and start our first AI. So if you click right here in your Eclipse folder, you'll see a little AIs folder, which comes with Simple AI. Do not create a new folder name, okay? So don't rename this anything because that build script is specifically made to build Simple AI. Your AI, however, will not be called Simple AI. You can make it whatever you want. And then in the SRC folder, you've got this competitor AI.java. So if you double click on that, you can open it. First thing I would suggest changing is this name up at the top. You can change this to whatever you want. Just keep in mind that some parts of the tournament will truncate it to 15 characters. So during the playtime, it can be as long as you want, but during like when it shows the scores on the tournament bracket, it will only be 15 characters. So if you guys have a lunchbox banana hammock, whatever that name was, yeah, that's a little bit too long. Super banana hammock lunchbox, I don't know. So you guys? What is it? What's your name again?
Jet Chicken Banana Hammock Lunchbox.
Yeah, Jet Chicken Banana Hammock Lunchbox. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one, I'm going to name mine Demo. You can name it whatever you want. Doesn't have to have AI, just all the ones that were provided gave AI so that way you can tell them apart. All right, so it looks like there's already some stuff here. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore all of this. We're going to start from scratch. That's more or less there for a reference so that we can see how to do everything. All right, so right now my code will not compile. And if I try to run it right here, you'll see the build error at the bottom. This is where all of your stuff comes from. Okay, apparently it compiled. It should yell at me for not having a return statement. Oh, well, I'll be. Let me run this again and see if it updates. So I should be able to see.
Take a few seconds when you make an update for the competitor GUI to do the actual update. That's just a file system polling issue. It's nothing we can really control.
I don't see the name.
You don't see the name Demo?
Was it up there and I just not see it? Oops. I see Simple AI. I don't know if this compile script is working.
You could be compiling the other Simple AI in the source folder at the top.
Ah, yeah, don't use this one. That's right, we moved it. Use this one. Don't use that AI's folder at all. So let's try this one. So that looks like it's working. Let's see if I get rid of this return statement. It should yell at me. All right, it looks like it's not giving compile errors, but Eclipse is still yelling at me. So I'm just going to go with this. Usually it does yell at you. So the way that this works is you're given a turn object, which is right here. Oh. And everything that you need should be in there. Your goal is to return an action. There are those 6 actions that I mentioned earlier, which are you can move, you can gather snow, you can throw snow, you can capture a base, you can spawn, and you can shout. So first things first, I need to make sure that I can actually spawn. So what I'm going to do is right here, the first thing that you should, or I suggest doing, when I say should do something, that means suggest. You do not have to do it this way, by all means. I'm going to go ahead and get my player. And the way that you can do this is by typing in unit player as soon as this loads. And it's the very first one that's here, is actor. Actor will get you the current actor for that turn. So now that I have my player, I'm going to check whether or not they're spawned. So I can just do that by saying if player dot. By every time that you type dot, you should just read through all of these things. There's a lot of methods that are very, very nice. So right up here near the top, you can see one that says is spawned. So I'm going to do a statement that says if my player is spawned, and I don't want to check if they're spawned, I want to see if they're not spawned. You can just stick a little exclamation mark at the beginning to do the not. So now if my player is not spawned, I can return a spawn action. So once again, this is in the documentation. The names for all of these 6 actions should be there. So the way that you can do that is just saying return new spawn action. Now, it's going to give you a couple of errors, and the reason for that is it takes a couple of arguments. So if you move your little brackets inside of here, if you guys don't know what control space does on Eclipse, you definitely should. If you're wherever you don't know what to do, you hit control space, it will bring you up some recommendations. So what this is saying is it takes in 2 arguments, which is a target of where you want to spawn, and it also takes in a perk. So I don't know either of those 2 yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that the line above. There's a nice method called turn dot. I forgot the name of this method. Oh, turn dot my team. What was that? Oh.
Turn.actor.team.spawns is what's in your.
Yep, I'm going to do it this way. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can go turn.myteam, which gets you your team, and then you can type in spawns, which gets you a list of all the spawns. So now this thing returns a set. So I'm not actually going to stick by doing it this way. I might. Set. This returns, if you hover over the method, it tells you what it returns. I got to get rid of my error here. This returns a set of positions. Good thing to note is positions and tiles are two different things. A position you can just think of as a coordinate system. A tile is all the information regarding a tile, like whether or not it's a base, how much snow is on it, all of that kind of fun stuff. So do not get the two mixed up. So I'm going to go ahead and store this as a set position. And I'm going to call it spawns. So now I've got all of these things spawned or stored, and it's yelling at me because I have not imported set. So I'm just going to import that from the top. So now I have a set of all of my spawns, and I want to pick one. This is where these util functions come in handy. I can type in position. I'll call it P because it's going to be very temporary. There's a method called any. Okay, any will take in an argument with sets and pick one at random. So I can say any spawns. So now P is just one of those positions at random. Once again, you guys are more than welcome to take all of this and do it all in one line. You could have just dragged and dropped this right into there and you would have been all set. Why is this yelling at me? Oh, I wonder if those are included. Is Jason in here? No. All right. Well, I'm going to compile this and see if it works. So I'm going to pass in P for the position, and then I'm going to pass in a perk. The way that you can pass in a perk is by typing in perk with a capital P, and then dot, and it will list all of the perks that you can pick. So I'm going to go ahead and pick, let's see, I'll pick bucket, which lets me hold one extra snowball. Let's see if this works now. I really hope that any is working. So I'm going to find, looks like we're having troubles compiling. There's demo. So now hopefully they should spawn. Maybe. Or not. Yeah, it looks like this any isn't working. I am going to make a phone call. Mike, any is not working. No, I think we got rid of the util thing in source. Okay. I'm just going to pop mine in for right now.
Right now, it's set up. We actually do exactly the same thing. We want to uncompile. Basically say, okay, you already have this type. Once you snap up its data structure and so it's like That's not really shared in between, so we would need something shared in between. And that's like super
Basically, it was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, looks like this is not happy right now.
You
Yes.
didn't statically import util.
Oh.
So go to the top, do import static. Snowbound. Oh yeah, snowbound. API.util.utility.star. There's a semicolon.
Ah, all right, good to know. Thank you very much, Jason.
Yeah, that just didn't get copied over to the.
All right, guys, I suggest adding this line of code to the top of your game. There's an import for utility that was just missed in the competitor AI. So it's right here at the very top. You type in import static, and then snowbound.api.util.utility.star. We should send out an email.
While you're at it, you should add the snowbound.api.util.star import.
Yep. That was?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what I got then. Are you in the AIs folder?
Yeah.
Don't do the AIs folder. If you want, though, you can copy everything from that thing, copy it into the source folder. The one that's in the source folder is the one that compiles. I guess we had some duplicates. So yeah, once again, make sure that you're running the competitor AI that is in this SRC folder, not the one that is in this AIs folder. It got copied in here twice. So now that you have this, it should be able to compile, which means I should be able to run it.
No.
So now that we have a basic spawn thing, it should be able to spawn. There we go. All right, so now we're spawning, but that's all we're doing. So if we don't need to spawn, it just returns null, which does absolutely nothing. Technically crashes the game. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to want to do is actually move somewhere. So I'm going to just go and I'm going to write something that moves to the nearest base and captures it. So now something to keep in mind is you don't need a bunch of if statements in all of your code. So right here I have this if statement to see if the player is spawned. I don't need to have an else because if you remember, if you get in here, it's going to return. So you can make your code a lot cleaner by avoiding all of those brackets. So I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to say find a base. So now the way that I'm going to find a base is by, you can get a collection of everything that's in the game. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go turn dot because I don't remember these names. And there's a nice method called all bases that returns a set of bases. So if I click on that, I'm going to go ahead and store that. I'm going to combine some things at once. I'm going to use any because I don't care which base I'm going to go to right now. That's a lie. I want to go to the nearest one. So the way that you can do this is you can say base B equals, and now this is going to return false. It's going to cause an error because part on the right-hand side is a set, and what we need is an actual base. So the way that you can do this is just like we had any before. I don't want to do this because it'll pick a random base to go to every turn. It'll seem like he's a little confused. But instead of using any, there is a method called nearest, which is very handy. Now nearest takes in one other argument. So if you go in this little spot here and hit control space, it will tell you what else you need. It says it takes in a collection, and then you need a target. So it's nearest to what? So you can't just say nearest because it doesn't know what it's comparing it to. So I can just pass in my player, which is something I created all the way at the top. So now this method will return the nearest method to your player. So similar to nearest, there's also a method called furthest if you want to use that. I've never had a use for it, but we'll probably get to that eventually. So now all I'm going to do is I want to move to that base. So the way that you can do that is by saying return new move action. Once again, I don't remember the parameters. So if you move inside of the brackets, hit control space, it will show you everything. It takes in a target. So it's saying, where do you want to move to? Also, you're going to see these things called positionable everywhere rather than position. Positionable is anything that you can imagine that has a position. So a base has a position. A unit has a position. Positions have positions. So anything that sounds along those lines, you're able to pass into this. So I'm just going to say move to that base, B. And then once again, it's yelling at me for this return null because I don't need it anymore. So now everyone should spawn, and if they don't need to spawn, they should move to a base. Specifically the nearest base. So now they're all moving to the nearest base. So that's all set up. So now that doesn't do you any good because you want to be able to capture a base. So we're just going to do one check before we move to the base to see if we're already on one. And if we are, let's go ahead and capture it. So we're going to do that. This is our finding a base. I'm going to copy this little comment. I want to capture one. Yes.
What does it classify a base as? Is it like the center of those hexagons?
So yeah, you can capture a base if you're on any of the tiles. However, bases, that method, will return just the center one.
Okay.
So if you want to get all of the tiles, you can do it in a bunch of different ways. You can do bases dot, and then it set, one of the things is coverage, which returns all of the tiles that are part of the base. And alternatively, you can start with a filter, so you can get all of the tiles and filter everything out so there's only bases left, only base tiles. So I'll leave that up to you guys. So capturing a base, this is a very easy thing to do. I can just see if turn dot, once again, so everything's in this turn method. There is a thing right here that says has base at. And then that takes in a positionable P. So if there is a base at my player, then I'm going to go ahead and just capture it. Return new capture action. Once again, I'm going to go in here and hit control space, and luckily this one doesn't take in anything. You'll either capture the base or you can't. There's nothing that you need to tell the game. So now that you have that, you can go ahead and recompile your AI, play the game. And now they should actually capture things. So the problem with this is they're going to continuously move to the nearest base afterwards. Actually, they're continuously trying to capture the same base. So once again, this is not the best AI. You'll probably want to increase your strategy to go to other bases as well. I probably won't cover that, though, because I don't want to tell you how to win specifically. But I'm going to go over a couple of the other actions as well. Yeah, do you have something?
Are we allowed to just make our own objects?
Yeah, you can create extra files, classes, anything. It all compiles into that jar file. Anything that you reference. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the way that an AI works, and I'm going to randomly pick between finding a base and gathering snow. So my goal is to show you all of the actions and then let you run from there. You know, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. Yeah, I'm just going to randomly do it. If you guys don't know what math.random does, it returns a random number between 0 and 1. So I'm going to say if math.random is greater than 0.5, I'm going to do one thing, and then otherwise I'm going to do the other thing. So the way that this works is I want to check where I want to move to. So in the case that I randomly pick to find snow, I'm going to go ahead and find snow. So the way that you can do this is I'm going to show you how to filter as well. So if you type in turn dot and then you get all, where is it? Should be all tiles. Turn.tiles. Turn.tiles gets you a collection of every tile on the game. And that returns a set of tiles. So now the ones that I'm interested in are the ones that have snow on them. So the way that we need to do this is by filtering them out or retaining. There's filter and retain. Filter removes everything with a set criteria. Retain keeps everything with a set criteria. So what I'm going to do is do a retain on things that have snow, which will then get rid of all the tiles in that set that don't have snow. So the way that you can do that is you can say tiles equals retain, and I don't remember the method, so I'm going to move inside of here and hit Control Space. It takes in two things. It takes in a collection. If you guys don't know what a collection is, it's a set. So that's the set that we want to pass in. So I'll go ahead and pass in my tiles to that for the first argument. And then the next thing is this weird new thing that you've probably never seen before. Come on, there it is. Which is a predicate. So you guys hopefully don't know what this is because we completely made it up. So there is a bunch of predicates which should be in the documentation, which is things that you can filter by. I don't remember them and I don't have the documentation, so I'm going to guess. New tile has snow. I don't know if that's a real thing. Ah, it is. All right, so that is the predicate I'm going to pass into it. So the way that you do that is by creating a new thing called new tile has snow, and that should filter out all of the things that, or retain all of the things that have snow. Need to spell things right. Oh, and then once again, this is in the snowbound.api.util package. I'm just going to go ahead up here. I've got these three things here. I'm just going to go ahead and import everything from the api.star and api.util.star. Oh, and then this method is called tiles. So what this does is keeps only tiles with snow. Does anyone know if these are in the documentation, the filters and stuff? Yes, there should be a list of all the predicates. I think there's like 6.
Yeah, it's not
all right.
super easy.
Yes, all right. I might have to go over some of those. There's things like tile has snow, tile has base. There's a lot of tile has something. So if you start typing in tile has, what was that? Yeah, tile is passable. Those are all things. If you guys want to see them, you should be able to click in like tile. If you have that, hit Control Space. Control Space is your best friend. And it should show you all of the ones that look like this. So tile has base, tile has my base, tile has snow, tile is passable. And there's probably some other ones that don't begin with tile. I think there's ones that begin with base as well. Yeah, base has owner is one as well. Does anyone have a question? Yeah. Snowbound? Here. These three. There's api.star, api.util.star, and then api.util.utility.star. Yep.
You can just flip over to the other AI that you said not to use, and they have all the. Is that turned off?
Yes.
And that's a copy, right? If I mess with
Yep.
that.
Everything that you guys get is copies, so you're not going to ever mess anything up. Keep in mind, even if you do get the actual copy, which is possible if you really hack around, it's completely ignored when you return your event. So everything that you have on your end is your own copy. The only thing that we get is an action, which actually turns into a string, which means that if you want to spawn, the only thing we care about is the string. You cannot modify turn no matter how hard you try. We made very well sure of that. Yeah, you can modify anything you get. So to finish this, I'm going to say new tile has snow. So now I've got a set of all these tiles that have snow. I'm going to just pick the nearest one. So I'm going to say tile T equals nearest out of tiles. And then once again, tiles takes in, or nearest takes in an argument of what is it nearest to. I'm going to say the nearest to my player. And then I'm just going to go ahead and spawn, oh, not tile, tiles. And I'm just going to get the nearest tile and move to it. So now if everything goes well, he should just move to a tile that has snow. He's not actually going to do anything with it. And then odds are he's going to go from there to a base as well. Keep in mind they're doing this randomly. All right, so all of those guys went to a base. I'm going to start a new simulation. Okay, all of those guys went to a base again. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just change the random to if it's greater than 0, which should always be true. Now they should only move to snow tiles, not bases ever. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they like that. Another thing to keep in mind is if you guys want standard input or standard out and standard error, those are redirected to files, so that way we don't get exploded when we run the competition. That should be in, if you refresh your file by right-clicking on this, hit refresh, then it should show up in this BonzAI 2015 folder. There's all of these files here, which are the AIs that you ran with the output. So here's my demo.out. Looks like nothing's happening. Let's see if I'm throwing any exceptions. I'm not. So apparently everything's working, but my AI is broken. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're moving to the tile that they're on. So I told them to move to the nearest tile with snow. Since they're already on a tile with snow, that's considered the nearest tile. So the way that I'm going to fix this now is, well, not fix it, but if I'm doing this gather snow event, I actually want to pick it up if we're on the tile that we're trying to go to. So you can do this with a quick check. If turn dot, once again, starting here, I want to see if the tile has snow. So you can do that by saying tile at, which then gets you a tile at a position. I'm going to say the tile at my player. And then if you move outside of those parentheses, you can hit dot again. So if the tile at my player, and now you can look at this, and there's a method called snow, which tells you how much snow is on there. And I'm going to check if that's greater than 0. So that big if statement says if I am on a tile that has snow, then I'm just going to pick it up. So I'm going to say return new gather action. If you hit control space, it tells you the parameters. In this case, we don't need any, which means that we're just going to gather what we're standing on.
Is there a way to get the like the distance to
a tile? Yeah. Yes, there's a thing called Manhattan distance, which is in there somewhere.
Is that part of position or?
I think that's part of utility. So if you just start typing in man and then space, control space, Manhattan distance. So it's a class. You have to create a new one. So it's equals new Manhattan distance. I don't know. Actually, it might be. Oh, it might be a static function. So type in the parentheses and then control space.
It'll go up one.
Control space inside of parentheses. Yeah. All right, yes. You'd have to create a new one. It's a new Manhattan distance, but I think it takes.
It doesn't return like an int.
No, it does. Okay. I just don't remember. You're just gonna have to fiddle around with it. All right, so hopefully they should gather the snow that they're standing on. And they're doing that. They're picking it up, and then they're moving to the next closest tile with snow, and then they're continuing to do that even though they're full. Oh, I guess. Oh, yes, that's the other thing. If you pick up snow and you can't hold it, it just disappears. Oh. So you can use that to your advantage as well. So like you can clear off snow tiles from your enemies. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So with that, you should be able to figure everything else out. Shout action just takes in a message and it shouts it out. Once again, that's only 30 characters, so use your words wisely. Make sure it doesn't get too far. It's very helpful for debugging. So if you're kind of getting stuck and you think that they should be doing one thing, try giving them a shout and make sure that they're doing what you think they're doing as well. Is there any specific questions or things that you'd like to try out? Yes. Do you have something? All right, I'll get to you guys in a sec. Is there anything else generic? All right. Do you have something? Yeah, I'll post this canvas or this sample code on Canvas. That way you guys can mess around with it if you'd like.